Ooh, that you remind me of a question that I've asked a number of people. What do you think about if the inspection zone, right before you go into the octagon, where the official's putting the Vaseline on your face, what if the inspection zone, you were standing on a scale to reveal how much weight you had put back on since official weigh-ins the day prior?
I would love that.
I would get a kick out of that,
But would you love that as a fighter fighting?
I wouldn't mind it as a fighter. I will just tell you, like, as a fan, that's interesting to me. When guys will put that size back on, that's really interesting. And some guys, you'd be stunned where some guys' minds goes. Like, here, let me give you an example. Daniel Cormier was getting ready to fight Stipe Miocic the second time. He finds out that Stipe, that was Rumble Johnson.
Okay.
But Daniel knocks out Stipe. They're going to do a rematch. Stipe shows up. He was 248 for the first fight. Stipe shows up at 231 for the second fight. He went vegan, and nobody could figure out what in the hell was going on. I mean, it moved the line. People tore their tickets up. But when word gets out to Daniel that Stipe is going to weigh in at 231, Daniel goes and cuts weight. So Daniel's coming in about 250, which puts him at 25 pounds under the weight limit. He didn't, for whatever reason that I do not understand to this day, he did not want the weight scale to be that lopsided. So Daniel goes and gets in the sauna and pulls out as much weight as he can to get closer to Stipe's weight, which was a weird thing to do. But I'm just saying that's the point. If guys had to get on the scale, they would do weird things. Numbers don't lie. It makes guys behave in a very odd way. Daniel being 25 pounds underweight and going to a sauna to get closer to his opponent because there was a rumor that he was coming in, that's weird. But he did it. But he did it. He's a normal guy, and he did it. So those numbers, man, they make people do weird stuff. That'd be a kick if they got on right before right
before
there.
you step into there. And of all the people I've asked, I asked DC,
Bruce Buffer.
Ask Bruce, nobody's with me on that.
Sure.
But it's you and me.
I think they're not with you in the terms of, are you going to get a commission to sanction that and actually do it? Would it be interesting from an audience perspective? Yes, that's fascinating. What guys weigh on fight night is very fascinating.
How much, what's the most extreme you've ever seen somebody blow up after a weight, how
much weight they put back on? A good 20 pounds.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, there's been 85-pounders that have weighed 207 the next day. 185 one day and 207. But I got to remind you, this is back when IVs were allowed. So, you could go to your room and get IV'd and get rehydrated, and some of that 15 and 20 pounds would come really quickly and easily. They don't do that now, so, you're closer.
Why can't you do IVs?
12 to 15. They banned them. A great way to flush illegal drugs is to then just run an IV. So if you were to take performance enhancers, this was the Lance Armstrong method, then hook up to an IV and flush that through your system, then the testing agents can come and you'll be clear. So USADA, to get ahead of that, just banned IVs.
It's like drinking a gallon of water before you take a drug test, maybe.
But that
never works.
People always drinking the vinegar juice before a drug test. I got caught with taking a drug test in high school with pee in my pocket out of the old apple juice things, and the lady was like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "What's what?" And she's like, "Ding, ding, ding," and I'm like, "Oh fuck, I'm sorry."
Where'd you buy that, by the way? Like the internet?
Yeah, no. It was just like one of those Martinelli's apple juice.
Okay.
That looked like an apple.
Yeah.
And I peed in it, and I took it into a drug test.
Sure. No, it's your own pee, though.
It was my own pee.
Oh, okay.
It was my buddy's pee that was sitting there.
All right.
Yeah.
And I was trying to get a job at PetSmart cleaning fish tanks.
Nice.
And I failed the drug test.
I'm sorry about that. Lesson learned.
I had a drug test when I was 19 years old that I was going to have to take, and so I drank a gallon of water and fell asleep in my friend's sofa and peed on the sofa because I drank too much water. And
or like you put a pube in the thing and it contaminates the test and you can't take it. Is that like...
One other thing about that I'd like to see, we're watching the UFC fights without fail. Every time, tail of the tape, introducing the fighter, we see the odds going into the fight. Mm-hmm. We know who the odds makers favor. Sometimes, it's actually pretty rare. Going into a round 2 or a round 3, they'll show the live odds and how the odds have fluctuated since the beginning of the fight. I would like to see, as a rule, the beginning of every subsequent round, all the time, show the live odds and how they've fluctuated.
Sure.
I just want to know that. That's the closest thing we get to open scoring. And not that I'm saying open scoring is great, but as a fan, I'm always very interested to see the odds, and I'm even more interested to see how they're changing during the fight.
I think that's interesting too. I enjoyed watching the last presidential election, but they were showing that like as the states were coming in, the odds were moving all over. But that changed it. I mean, it does change something as a fan. Numbers don't lie, so anytime you can get those numbers, like what you're suggesting, it does add to it. What do you think of open scoring, by the way?
There's an argument that
both ways, right?
Yeah. There's an argument that you get people coasting through fights. It makes fights more boring.
Sure.
You know? Better to... You always want your cornerman to tell you that you are losing.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
And to have official knowledge that you are not losing is not good for the fans.
Yeah, I agree with that. And there is a massive excitement at the end of the night when you don't know. And Bruce Buffer makes the announcement. It's a big deal, and you would be taking that away. And I know a lot of commissions are looking at doing that. Dana and Scott Coker are against it, and I think that should be the final say. Not commissions, not athletes, not any, but the promoters who have to find a way to make this profitable are saying this hurts the product, don't do it. I think that they really need, respect needs to be shown, and so far it has been. But it would change it. I mean, there is something that is compelling about that.
I think that showing live odds, as a rule, is the compromise that makes everybody happy.
Sure.
They do it anyway sometimes, so you can't argue about whether you can do it or not.
Yeah.
Do they do it in any other sports?
You know, in other sports, betting odds are a little bit taboo to acknowledge. Like, you'll never see it in football.
That's right.
When you were fighting, were you looking at your odds?
I was not, but that's an interesting point that you make. Yeah, they don't really do that in football, do they?
It's very taboo.
We got in front of it. I think that they'll catch up, but you're right about that. No, I never was. Not when you were actually in there. But I was so exhausted in there. It is such a tiring sport. I came from wrestling. You worked every single day just to be able to go 6 minutes with another guy and hold up. He's going hard and you're going hard. Then you get into this and it's 25 minutes. I mean, it was so tiring. I only bring that up because you asked if I was looking at the odds. I wanted to know where to look, and if I saw them, I wanted to know what they meant. Like, it is in such a zone of every breath, every drink of water, of just trying to get another beat. I wouldn't have been able to calculate it. If I looked up and saw, I wanted to know what it meant. I got to go deal with this guy. It was different. In a wrestling match, you're trying to score points. In a fight, the guy's trying to damage you. It's different. There's nowhere to stall. There's no way to eat up clock in a fight.
Yeah.
Very different. Very nerve-wracking in that regard.
Do you like shopping on Amazon? I do. And good news is, Steve-O's butt wipes for your butthole are available on Amazon. And if you want a real bundle of a deal, you can get Steve-O's hot sauce for your butthole, plus Steve-O's butthole destroyer, and Steve-O's butt wipes for your butthole. It's the butthole bundle, available on Amazon right now.
Yeah, dude.